There's a quote, and I don't know where it came from. It might be a combination of several different quotes that have just made its way onto the internet. But it goes something like, you shouldn't turn your hobby into a job because you'll end up hating it. And I think a lot of that stems from the extra aspects that comes from turning a hobby into a business, like the taxes, like keeping track of sales, all of the numbers, the accounting behind it, the documents, the government papers. Like, that is one thing that is pretty annoying to have to deal with when all you really wanted to do was enjoy the thing itself, the hobby. For cowboy boots, I got into it in 2018, at least making my hobby into a job, trying to earn money on YouTube. It actually started by trying to get more people aware of my music. And it definitely worked. Like, that's why I play songs at the end of every video. My listenership has increased, and I appreciate everybody who's come through and given my music a chance. It's been great to play for you. But I wanted to take it a step further and bring more information about cowboy boots to you, because a lot of folks were asking questions about different types of boots, getting into deeper reviews, actually working in the boots, interviewing custom cowboy boot makers. So I delved into every single aspect of the cowboy boot industry over the last 8 years. And going back to that quote that I said at the beginning, it definitely ruined it for me to some extent. Not because of the accounting or the government papers and extra things. It was because of how I'm seeing the business devolve into something very sad that a lot of the companies, they just don't care to run it back for everybody who maybe hasn't been here since 2018. I started by just doing simple videos, sharing my experience of wearing cowboy boots, because I started wearing boots right after I graduated high school in 2005. So I got my first pair of boots in 2005, 2006, because my brother had some cowboy boots, and I really liked the fact that they could be repaired. I was running through sneakers, I was running through shoes like crazy, running around the woods, just generally not caring where I went or what I did. And I thought it would be a good thing to have some footwear that could be repaired. And the first example of that in my life was a pair of cowboy boots that my brother got. So I wanted to get a pair too. And I became very quickly obsessed with my cowboy boots. After I got my first pair, I would eventually get 3 more pairs over the next 3 years. I started out with a pair of brown boots. Then I got a pair of boots with a rubber sole. Then I got some black boots. And then finally I got an exotic pair of cowboy boots. And to this day, I think that really all you need in a cowboy boot collection is 4 to 5 pairs of cowboy boots. It makes the rotation great. It provides you with different choices for different occasions, and you can switch out pretty much whenever you want. So 4 to 5 boots in a collection. I've talked about this before. There's a video about it. And took my boots on tour across the United States several times. Videos about that too. Talked about my boots in a tour video before I was about to kind of go on a northwest to southwest tour. And that video did really well. And I didn't understand why it did better than the other ones until a few years later when I started making videos about cowboy boots regularly. And Once I did that, it became very clear that there was interest in cowboy boots in general, which has only grown since then because of shows like Yellowstone and on all of those offshoots. And then I started to recognize the fact that direct-to-consumer cowboy boots was becoming a big thing. And this was also around the time that I realized, because of my work on the channel, I'd been wearing the wrong size cowboy boots for 10 years plus. And it suddenly clicked to me that that's why there was such long break-in periods. That's why it was uncomfortable when I was wearing the boots all day long when they were new. And that I figured, it's just part of the boot wearing process. That's what I was told. So when I started working with the direct-to-consumer brands, Tecovas, Chisos, and even Yeehaw Cowboy to some extent when they were around, I was trying to wear the boots, understand the value that they had, but also try to encourage these new brands to branch out and offer sizes that weren't available in stores. In most stores. There are plenty of stores, a handful of them, around the United States that do offer lots of width sizes. But for the most part, I didn't know anything about it until I tried a pair of vintage boots that my buddy sent me that were a 12B. And once I got to wear them all day long, it was crazy, but also I got to try it for the first time at Beth West, and that was a very eye-opening experience, trying it in the store for the first time. I didn't like those boots, but when I tried the vintage pair, the vintage Nakonos, these black ones back here, it completely changed my whole outlook. And after that, I started understanding where some of the money was coming from for the direct-to-consumer brands, because I'd traveled the country, stopping at different boot stores along the way and checking out different boots and calling them quick impressions here on YouTube. And then during the pandemic, I toured the country with Hondo Boots owner Phil Guijarro, doing the same thing, stopping at a bunch of different boot stores that carried Hondos, and also doing videos of boots in their stores, all different brands. And through that, I started to understand how family boot stores, small business boot stores that just have one or two locations maybe, how they sell boots, how they order boots, how they mark up boots. I understood cowboy boot pricing from the company level, the wholesaler level, to the actual retailer level that then sells boots to you. And it was very eye-opening. And at the same time, I was talking to a lot of cowboy boot makers, like custom cowboy boot makers. This was also during the pandemic. I was doing a bunch of interviews. And then eventually I went out to Wichita Falls to attend a boot and saddle makers roundup. And at this event, they were also selling leather. So there was a bunch of leather providers there. And it was cool that I was able to see that experience, get to talk to custom boot makers in person and see them interact with each other, because a lot of times they're just sort of in their own areas and they don't really get to visit. So it's like a big party for all of the custom boot makers, and to see that and be a part of it was really cool. And to see them interact with the leather providers as well was really cool. And to see the boot brands who were there. Like I saw Caden Fenolio from Fenolio Boots at that roundup in Wichita Falls, he was shopping for leather. That is small business. And Fenolio is one of the few brands that do offer extended width sizes. So I thought that was really cool. You know, seeing all of these different angles of the industry. And I also went down to Dallas for WESA or WESA conference, Western Equestrian Sales Association, I want to say. That's where all of the boot brands, all of the Western wear brands, that's where they all meet, and retailers send representatives, or the owners of the retailers, they go and they talk to a bunch of the boot brands or the jeans brands, because Kimes Ranch was there. Belt buckle brands were there. And they talk to them and order new boots, see new styles that are going to be available in the next year or so. And it was a great place to go and see how trends are produced, because trends don't just happen. They are literally produced. I remember going the year that the Barbie movie was going to come out, and WESA is in January. The Barbie movie didn't come out until the summertime, but they were already planning that pink and bright colors would be a trend that would be pushed onto the public because of the Barbie movie that was going to be coming out. So it was this huge marketing campaign at every step of the way, 6 months before the movie even came out, so the stores could order their pink boots to have ready for when the Barbie movie came out. Crazy stuff. And it was really eye-opening. While I was communicating with the direct-to-consumer brands, I would do honest reviews, and every time I learned more, I would make those adjustments in the future videos. And throughout all of the videos, whether they were sponsored or if I was just making commission, I would still encourage the boot brands to make more width sizes than just D widths or double E widths, because there's a lot of people out here who are different width sizes. I measure people all the time, and they say, I think I need a wider boot because cowboy boots just aren't comfortable. I can't find a comfortable boot. And then I measure their foot and they're a C width or they're a B width, and they want to get a double E. Like, nobody knows, and the industry doesn't want you to know, because then they don't have to make your size. It became clearer and clearer and clearer to me. Even through that process, when I was still trying to communicate on good terms with these brands, I released my own line of cowboy boots. We did a very limited run of 20 boots with Botas Nueva Vizcaya, BNV boots, of a boot that I had designed in about 2019. And the whole idea for that was you could get your actual size. BNV, they can do all the sizes. So we had orders of B widths, we had orders of C widths, we had orders of single E widths. Widths ranged everywhere. We also had orders of, different styles, because it was going to be made pretty much special order, every single one of them anyways. So you could order a J-toe, an R-toe, a snip toe, or a roper style boot with a roper toe. And most of them were R-toes, the orders, which was at a time when, those medium round toes were few and far between. The direct-to-consumer brands were doing it, but pretty much all the other brands were still really hot on the wide square toe with a double stitch welt. So through all of this experience, me dabbling in playing in all of these different spaces, I really started to understand that the industry really doesn't want to make extra width sizes. They really don't, because there's no money in it. And the sad thing is that they have the money. I've explained in some shorts here on the channel and on Instagram that the way they mark up boots is crazy for direct-to-consumer. Going back to the limited release that I did, I wanted to make those affordable. So I didn't do the usual 100% markup that all of the retailers do traditionally. So if you go to a mom and pop boot store, the boots are marked up 100% from what they bought it. It's called Keystone, from what I understand. Keystone pricing. So if they bought the boot wholesale from the brand for $150, they would then mark up that boot to $300 most of the time. Some of the brands were more like 80 to 90%. I did like 60 to 70% on my limited run. And it was not worth it. I understood why it is 100% a lot of times. Maybe 110 or 90, like there's a range there, 90% to 110%, but most of the time it's 100%. I did much less than that, and it was a pain in the ass. There's a lot of work, especially as a solo guy, just trying to do it themselves. The boots were made in the USA of water buffalo, calf skin, and it was going to be very expensive if I was to double the price, do Keystone pricing on those boots. So I learned that even though I was happy to offer a cheaper boot that was more affordable, US made, special order for 20 people, I probably wouldn't be able to do it again because it just wasn't worth it for 60% markup. I'd have to do Keystone or 100% markup. The direct-to-consumer brands, they don't deal with a retailer most of the time. I know some people are going to be like, "Whoa, you can get Tacovas in Nordstrom or whatever now," which is a different story. And they pulled some tricks with that. If they are not selling through a retailer, then they're keeping all of that markup for themselves if they're pricing the boots in a very similar range to the small businesses who carry similar boots. And once I realized that I'd given them the benefit of the doubt for too long, and I knew how much they were making, and that they weren't willing to offer expanded width sizes, jealous, like personally, like of course, I want my size to be available, but I also want you to know what your size actually is and to be able to get it. Because you shouldn't have to wear a pair of boots in the wrong size for 10 years or more before you actually understand what size you really are. I think that's criminal and ruins the experience for a lot of people. I think a lot of people out here would be wearing cowboy boots more often if they could find their actual size and be comfortable with the cowboy boots, instead of saying, I can't wear cowboy boots because they're just uncomfortable. They're not uncomfortable. You're just wearing the wrong size. And you're wearing the wrong size because most brands don't carry your size because it's too expensive, or they're greedy and they want to keep extra profit margins for themselves. So while Tacovas and Chisos and Higher and other brands, Alpha, are skipping over the retailer to sell boots directly to you at very similar prices. Alpha is super cheap, but it's because their boots are garbage. Like, I've done videos on it. You guys can say whatever you want about it, but they are literal garbage. After asking these brands and giving them the benefit of the doubt for so long, I got fed up with it. Last year, I'm just like, what is the point? What is the point of trying to get these brands to make actual boots that fit actual real people and not try to get people just to fit into their boots? Especially when the boots that they make aren't really that good. I'd get boots from these brands. I see a lot of you guys saying, oh, you just want free boots. That's why you're upset at them. I don't want free boots. I have plenty of boots. Like I said, all you need is 4 or 5, and I have more than that. I have way more than that now. And secondly, I don't want boots that don't fit. Who wants boots that don't fit? I want them to make sizes. And it's definitely lost me money, right? Because I'll review the boots that they send me and be truthful about it. Chisos squeak. They're not having enough glue in the boots. They don't let the glue cure. Is all the reason why they squeak. And they still are having a problem with, oh no, I can't figure out why the boots are squeaking. Use patience when you make them. Maybe some of the new folks here are like, well, what do you know about that, Jeremiah? In 2024, I went to custom cowboy boot school at Schwartz Custom Boots. That's another leg of the journey, another experience that I had. And over the course of 2 weeks, I made a pair of custom cowboy boots. You can see the whole thing in my Boots and Ballads bunkhouse. It's a membership program on my website. Just go to jeremiahcraig.com/membership if you want to see all 12 episodes of making those boots. And I learned the tricks that the industry uses to cut corners and to increase profit margins. On top of that, these direct-to-consumer brands are offering 15% to 20% commissions when you sell their boots for content creators like myself. 15 to 20%. The boots that I promote that actually have width sizes that are actually dealing with retailers, I get 5 to 10% commissions on those. So these brands have a ton of money to spare. They have enough money to increase quality, to increase the width sizes that they offer, but they choose not to because they want to keep that 300 to 400% markup that they've created in the direct-to-consumer space. And I want to fight it. And I will. I will talk about it from time to time, but it's going to be a losing battle. I will lose. And a lot of you will be upset at the fact that I am talking a lot of shit about the brands that advertise the most because they have the budget to, really think about it. And that's okay. But it has ruined it for me to some extent. I really liked doing reviews. The reviews don't get the views. As much as you guys say that you like them, they don't get as many views as me talking like this. Talking ahead content. These get way more views. So this is what I'm going to continue doing here on YouTube. And I'll branch out here and there. Maybe put in some new stuff here and there. Mess around with different types of content featuring different kinds of products that help me or help the folks who are in the Boots and Ballads bunkhouse, where everything fun will actually be. But for now, I'm going to just play the game, which I will eventually lose because I don't have enough money to fight these big brands and continue to encourage them to actually make the width sizes that people actually are. So I'm not going anywhere. I know I haven't released a video on here for a little bit, but definitely going to be scaling it back and putting less effort into YouTube for sure. So if you want to see more and you want to support the kind of content that you say that you like, that's on the Boots and Ballads bunkhouse from here on out. It's at jeremiahcraig.com/membership, and you can pick your preferred tier. That's where the good videos are going to be. But learning more about the industry, learning all the aspects about how this works, how the cowboy boot industry is now in the 21st century, it's definitely ruined it for me. Because it is mostly about greed, which is a shame. It is. But I guess that's most things nowadays. But hey, you'll still see me around, and I'll be playing around with different types of content here. And if you like it, cool. If you don't, that's cool too. I really don't care anymore. Love you guys. Thanks for watching all the way to the end. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.